Welcome to another episode, everyone. A female Crip killer from Piru. Well, they killed her brother. And when they did that, she went on a rampage. Absolutely fascinating. Let's get right into it.
Most people run from danger. Sylvia Nunn ran straight toward it. Growing up in the heart of Compton's gang wars, she was raised to fight, to survive, and when necessary, to kill. But when the Crips gunned down her brother, something in her snapped. She didn't just seek revenge, she embodied it. Ruthless, fearless, and always ready for war, she earned the name Rambo. But how did she go from a grieving sister to the Crips' worst nightmare?
Okay, so with a name like Rambo, we know she putting in work. So she from Compton, she a Piru, the Crips done killed her brother allegedly. And now she's on a mission. I know some of these individuals who I speak on. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, in the gang land, in the gang culture, steeply involved. And if these people were around at that time, whatever hood they're from, I know of them. Some of them I know personally, but it still fascinates me of how an environment can lead to certain characteristics. Indeed, we are a product of our environment or of a situation. Here she had a situation, a very traumatic one, where her brother was brutally, more than likely, unalived by the Crips. And let's see what happens. She clearly went on a mission. Rambo.
This is a story of Sylvia Nunn, the deadliest female Piru. In the late 1950s, Sylvia's family packed up and moved to the east side of Compton, looking for a fresh start in a single-family home. The neighborhood, however, was under the grip of the Lueders Park Piru, a blood gang. Sylvia came into the world in 1962.
I'm sure he meant Looters Park. Lueders, yeah. So this dude he's not from whoever. This is Killer Block Archives, I believe, or Killer Chronicles. I think Killer Block Archives. Check out his channel. I'm using this content, but it's not whatever word he just used. But anyway, let's continue.
Born into a well-off black family. She grew up with two brothers, including her older brother, Marcus, better known as China Dog, who would go on to become one of the founding members of the Lueders Park Piru gang. Their father, Willie Nunn, wasn't just any man.
See what I'm talking about? I was locked up with China Dog. And he's like, he's one of their main guys. He is their main guy. He was their main guy. In fact, their hood day at one point was after his birthday or something, was in honor of his birthday while he was still alive. I guess maybe he is still alive, but I was locked up with him in Corcoran. We were in a hole together. And I know these people. China Dog.
He was a professional boxer, tough and disciplined. He made sure Sylvia knew how to defend herself, teaching her both how to fight and how to handle a gun. Those lessons would prove invaluable when she found
a big ass mustache Pops had. God, look at that motherfucker. Big, thick ass mustache. Okay, so China Dog is her brother, and he's a beast. He the head honcho over there. Okay, so certainly this is what happens in gang culture in the neighborhood. If you're somebody, you're a tough guy, you're an OG, then chances are your little brother, your little sister, yeah, they're going to take after you. They're going to have respect in the hood just because based on who you are. So I'm sure Sylvia Nunn here, Rambo, got away with a lot of stuff and probably was emboldened by the fact that China Dog is her brother. Ain't nobody about to say anything to her, challenge her over there in that hood. So she can run it around and do whatever she wants. Apparently, that's what she was doing.
Herself in dangerous situations, especially as gang tensions escalated around her. Despite the tough environment, her parents worked hard to provide for their family, making sure their children had everything they needed. Sylvia, in particular, never went without. Every year, she got a brand new car, a reflection of the family's financial stability. But in 1973, everything changed. Willie Nunn was arrested for drug possession and sent to prison. And just like that, the backbone of the household was gone. Without him, the Nunn children were left to navigate a world that was getting darker by the day. Compton wasn't the same place it used to be. Gangs were growing fast, and both Crip and Piru sets were carving out their territory. Sylvia grew up in the middle of it all, watching and learning. She had two major influences, one teaching her, the other showing her that fighting wasn't just expected, it was normal. Picking up a gun wasn't a last resort. It was just part of life. And being in a gang, that wasn't a choice. It was survival. Her mother didn't raise her to be a lady. There were no dolls, no dress up, no makeup lessons. Instead, she learned how to fight before she even knew how to fix her hair. Everything she knew came from the men around her, men in gangs, men who lived by a code of violence and respect. And when that's all you know, what else are you supposed to become? Sylvia didn't.
I don't know why you blocking out all the get out, but you see the little girl throwing up something, she throwing up a 4 or something. Mom's throwing up the beat, the little girl throwing up something too. This is crazy. Yeah, I bet she did have a teacher, China Dog, her brother. Led by example. Let's see. Okay, Pops is in prison.
Choose this life, she was born into it. When Sylvia was just 16, a sudden burst of gunfire shattered the afternoon calm outside her house. She didn't hesitate. She ran straight toward the sound. Just a short distance away, in a nearby park, a crowd had already gathered. Lying on the ground bleeding was her older brother, China Dog, and he had just been shot down by a car full of Compton Crips. The Crips outnumbered the Pirus 3-1, and this time they had the upper hand. Sylvia shoved her way through the crowd, her pulse hammering in her ears. Seeing her brother like this, hurt, helpless, sent a surge of rage through her. The heartbreak was there, sure, but the anger burned hotter. This wasn't just his fight anymore, it was hers too. And in that moment, she made up her mind. She wasn't backing down. His war was now her war. She had to find the Crips who did this, an eye for an eye. That was the only justice that made sense in her world. Sylvia Nunn believed that the main thing was to kill, to take control of life and death with her own hands. But despite how bad it looked, China Dog survived. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was now recovering. And Sylvia, at just 16 years old, she had made her choice. She was now a member of the Looters Park Pirus. Now, if you're talking about the most notorious Piru sets in Compton, the Looters Park Piru, also known as the Looters Park Bompton Piru, has to be in the conversation. But before they were Pirus, they were actually called the Looters Park Hustlers back in the 1970s. Over time, they transitioned into becoming a full-fledged Piru gang, staking their claim on the east side of Compton. Their name comes straight from Looters Park, their old stomping ground. That's where members would gather, playing ball, getting high, and let's be real, planning their next moves. This wasn't just a hangout spot, it was their headquarters, the place where everything started. And from there, their reputation only grew. Now they're—
Well, of course, most gangs, many gangs are named after either an individual or a street or a community or a park or what have you. This is common in gang culture.
Turf stretches from Bullis Road to Atlantic Avenue between Compton Boulevard and Rosecrans Avenue. They're boxed in by some other well-known sets. Mob Piru to the north, Hollywood Piru to the south, Elm Street Piru to the west, and Lime Hood Piru to the east. And while they had their fair share of allies, they also had a long list of enemies, especially among the Crips and some Sureño gangs. If you know anything about the 90s West Coast rap scene, then you know about Suge Knight. The Death Row Records boss had strong ties to the mob Piru, and the Looters Park Piru were right in that mix. In fact, they were hired as security for Death Row during the height of the gangster rap era. Back then, the lines between the streets and the music industry were blurred. Gang politics bled right into the rap game. And when Tupac Shakur was shot in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996, everything exploded. The streets of Compton turned into a war zone. The mob Piru and Southside Compton Crips were already beefing. But after Tupac's murder, things got even worse. Looters Park Piru sided with Mob Piru in the conflict, and the violence only escalated. But here's the twist. Despite riding with Mob Piru during the war, Looters Park and Mob Piru eventually became enemies themselves. A lot of it stemmed from internal conflicts, betrayals, and murders tied to the death row era. They tried calling a truce, but in the end, it just didn't stick. When it comes to alliances, Looters Park Piru has linked up with sets like Elm Street Piru, Lime Hood Piru, Hollywood Piru, and Cross Atlantic Piru. With the Kelly Park Compton Crips, Santana Block Compton Crips, Dusty Hood Compton Crips, Neighborhood Compton Crips, and even some blood sets like Fruittown Piru. And then there's their long-standing beef with the Sureños, including gangs like Compton Vario 70s, Compton Vario Chicano Gang, and Compton Vario Largo 36. Sylvia was the youngest in the Looters Park crew and the only girl carrying a gun. More than anything, she wanted to prove she was just as tough as her older brother, Marcus. She wasn't about to be treated like some tag-along. She wanted respect. So when Marcus's friends asked her to help rob a gas station, she didn't hesitate. They walked there together, and along the way, they were hyping her, even carrying her on their shoulders like she was some kind of champion. When they got there, they smashed the window with the handles of their guns and then shoved Sylvia through the broken glass. Inside, with a gun pointed straight at her face, she locked eyes with the cashier. They made it clear this was a robbery and there was no room for mistakes. Sylvia grabbed every last dollar from the register and handed it over to the Bloods, but she wasn't about to walk away empty-handed. She made sure she got her cut. Marcus's boys looked at her funny, almost like they thought it was a joke. They told her they'd buy her a popsicle or something, but Sylvia wasn't laughing. She let them know real quick. This wasn't a game to her. If she was doing the job, she was getting paid. So they tossed her some loose change. It wasn't much, but Sylvia didn't care. She wasn't just some girl tagging along. She was one of them, and she was going to make sure they knew it.
And of course, that's how I go in the hood. You do these damn robberies, and you do these robberies with a female, or even with certain homies that you don't respect, and you try to keep all the money. We call it pocketing. You pocket all the money. In this case, they wasn't pocketing it, though. They just straight telling her, you're not getting any. Then they end up giving her some loose change. Okay. This probably added to her killer mentality.
Unlike most of the girls in the pack, Sylvia didn't just follow orders or wait for someone to tell her what to do. That wasn't her style. She wanted to stand on her own, just like Marcus. And with both of them deep in the Bloods, their house became more than just a home. It turned into the gang's headquarters, and that put a target on it. The Crips knew what was up, and they weren't about to let it slide. They started lighting up the Nun house with gunfire, aiming to take out China Dog. But it wasn't just the Crips after him. The police wanted him too. They'd come knocking, looking to drag him in, and every time they did, they clashed with his mother. The cops didn't just come for him. They made sure to threaten her too. Sylvia couldn't take it. Watching them harass her mother over and over lit a fire in her. She stepped up furious, telling them to back off, to leave her mother alone. One of the cops just looked at her, almost amused, then threw a line at her. "Who do you think you are, Rambo?" And from that moment on, Rambo was born. China Dog eventually got locked up, spending years in the youth authority. But out in the streets, Sylvia was only sinking deeper into that life. Then came the 1980s, and with it, the crack cocaine epidemic. It tore through South Central Los Angeles, Compton, Watts, Inglewood, everywhere. Gang members weren't just selling it, they were using it too. Sylvia was no different. She already had a name for being violent, always strapped, but now, high on crack, she was out on drive-by shootings, feeling nothing, no guilt, no pain, no remorse. Then in April 1991, the cops rolled up with a warrant for Sylvia's arrest. They gave her two choices. Either she could go to jail or she could start talking about the Looters Park Piru's drug operations. She decided to cooperate, but just a few months later, on July 23rd, in the middle of the afternoon, Sylvia got a call from her mom, the kind of call that shifts your whole world. Her older brother, Junior Nunn, had been shot in the back of the head while walking his girlfriend home. Just like that, he was gone. Sylvia just couldn't make sense of it. Junior wasn't about that life.
Okay, so that we keeping up, she started snitching. All right. They came and arrested her. They came to get her in 91 or what have you. And she gave it all up. Well, okay, apparently she's still banging. Apparently she's still from the street. Apparently she's still from Looters Park. And now her older brother gets shot in the back of the head, killed. She just got this word. Let's continue.
He was one of the calmest, kindest people she knew. Wouldn't hurt a fly, literally. So why him? Why now? What she didn't see was that this wasn't random. She was right in the middle of it. Her family wasn't just involved in the game, they were royalty. And when you're at the top, everyone's watching. So, what does Sylvia do? She goes home, throws on some men's clothes, and grabs one of her dad's guns. Then, she steps right into Crip territory. She starts chatting, playing it cool, listening, and whenever somebody's name comes up, she makes a note, then heads straight to their house and puts a bullet in their head, one by one, all in the name of Junior. That first kill after her brother's murder, that was it. That was the moment she stopped being just a girl. That was the moment she became a gangster. But revenge wasn't just about her. It was about her mother too. Sylvia made sure those other mothers felt the same pain her own mother felt when she got that call. On the streets, word got around quickly. They started calling her by her nickname, Rambo. She wasn't out there trying to look cute. No makeup, no nails, no jewelry, just black from head to toe. Shoes, socks, shirt, pants, coat, and a beanie.
So she like G.I. Jane out there. Sound like she out there dressed up, probably got makeup on her face and all this. Now, so she creeping up, going to these individuals' neighborhoods, getting information because she's a female, getting this information. They're giving her the information, and then she uses this information against them, goes into their homes, catches them slipping, puts one in their head. She's done this to multiple Crips. Single-handedly, a female out here dressed in all black, fatigued, taking people out.
Even her red flag, that deep wine-colored one, stayed tucked under the beanie. Her job? She was out there to kill. And when it was over, when the streets had been served, she'd slip back into her car, peel off the beanie and coat, let her hair fall, and just like that, she was someone else. Just a woman driving home. That was her disguise. But in 1993, everything changed. In 1993, Sylvia Nunn left behind everything she knew and took off to Las Vegas, Nevada. Then, 2 years later, she married John Hardman, a former sheriff from Kansas City, Missouri, and changed her name to Sylvia Hardman, trying to start fresh. It was a complete shift. She walked away from gang life and focused on building a future. She became deeply involved with the Second Missionary Baptist Church in Pahrump, Nevada, trading her old ways for faith. As she put it, I put down Piru and picked up Jesus. But before that transformation, Sylvia had built a reputation, one that made her the central figure in a 2008 episode of Gangland called From Girl to Gangster. The episode focused on female gang members, the Criplets and Bloodlets, but the real spotlight was on Sylvia, better known on the streets as Rambo, and her ties to the Looters Park Pirus. Sylvia described women in gangs as some of the most dangerous players. Why? because cops were less likely to search them. That gave them an...
Not only are cops less likely to search a female or pull them over or what have you, but gang members themselves are disarmed with a female, with the exception of those who are, hyper vigilant. Then a female, especially a pretty one, can walk up on you and disarm you, can walk up on you and flirt with you or what have you the whole time she's a gang member with a weapon, ready to put one in the back of your head. But the only thing you can do is think about your other little head.
Advantage. They could carry weapons, substances, even commit crimes for their male counterparts, all while flying under the radar. These girls weren't just bystanders. They learned early how to survive. They knew how to fight, how to use a knife, how to shoot a gun, and how to steal. Many got caught up in substances, and some were even exploited by the men in their own gangs. But sometimes they flipped the script, using their relationships with rival gang members to gather intel. And Sylvia, she was feared. She had no hesitation, no fear. That's what made her one of the most dangerous women in her gang. But in the end, her story took a different turn. On April 20th, 2010, Sylvia Hardman passed away. She was laid to rest at Woodlawn Cemetery in Las Vegas. Her legacy, however, didn't end there. In Compton, her sister, Cynthia Nunn, started a non-profit in her honor, Sylvia Nunn Angels. The organization is dedicated to giving back to the community, helping kids and families find a better path, one that doesn't lead to the streets. Sylvia Nunn's life was full of twists and turns, from gangster to believer, from feared to remembered. And through her story, her impact still lives on. What are your thoughts on this story? Appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed the video, from the outside looking in.
Wow. Rest in peace to her. Rest in peace to Sylvia Nunn. Rest in peace to Rambo. At least in the end, apparently she changed her life. She moved, and some people really can change their lives. People think that it's fake, that it's a put on. Well, she wasn't in prison, because you think that people in prison, they turn to religion all of a sudden when they get to prison, and it's all a put on, it's a farce. But she wasn't locked up. She moved from where she was at to a different state, became ingrained deeply, apparently, in her church, and traded in her red flag for Jesus. And apparently stayed out of the hood until she died. So she had really changed her life. People really can leave that life alone, grow out of it, mature. The gang life, you have to leave it alone at some point, or you're going to be looking like a damn fool out there on the street. 80 years old, talking about cousin blood. You look like a fucking fool. Rest in peace to Sylvia. She turned her life around. And of course, that does not nullify or negate the lives that she allegedly took. But she still stopped and turned her life around. Kudos to her. Stay safe. Crazy story, though. And rest in peace to her brother, too. I mean, those sort of events will have you crashing out. It's crazy. I'll continue to cover these sort of stories, though, because I'm fascinated. They fascinate me, and I live the shit. Stay free, people.